We're here to cut through the noise and get straight to the heart of the information that matters to you. Today, we're looking into a really fascinating story, the story of La Sagrada Farm, our source material. It's some compelling excerpts from La Sagrada Farm, the Holy Hash story, which was presented by Nug Notes. And our mission really is to figure out how this brand, one that pretty much avoided all the usual marketing, all the hype, how they quietly became such a force in the cannabis world. It makes you think, right? Like, what does it really take to build something? Well, something sacred, maybe. Something lasting in an industry that's so often just about the next big buzzword.
It really is a different kind of origin story. La Sagrada Farm popped up around 2018 in Barcelona, operating, as the source puts it quite nicely, under Gaudí's shadow. And what's immediately striking is how they just completely ignored the standard way of doing things. Seriously, like no press kits, no storefront, none of that.
Nothing. So how did people even find out about them?
It was literally just melt moving through the city's club scene. That's how it started. Super small scale, very, very quiet about it. And they had this one core idea, almost like a mantra. Solventless first, everything else later. That was it.
It's pretty bold. Choosing to stay hidden almost.
Yeah.
Makes you instantly curious about, the actual craft.
Yeah.
What details do we have from the sources? What tells us how dedicated, how meticulous they really were with the product itself?
Oh, the details really paint a picture of intense precision. They were strictly full melt only, which, for anyone less familiar, that's the absolute top tier of hash. It signifies incredible purity because it just melts away completely. No residue.
Right. The highest quality signified.
Exactly. And they used an row wash, that's reverse osmosis water for the extraction, again, aiming for ultimate purity. They handled the 9120 heads like relics. These specific trichome heads are the most sought-after part of the plant for hash, containing all the good stuff.
So treating them like treasure, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. And then there's the cold cures they used to get those unique sponge cake textures. It wasn't about speed or maximizing output quickly. It was this philosophy of patience over pressure, letting the hash develop properly, naturally.
That dedication is clear. But it sounds like they weren't just about perfecting existing methods. They were innovating, too. The sources talk about this piattella gospel. What exactly was that? Why was it such a big deal for them?
The piattella. Yeah, that really shows how they were thinking ahead. They were pressing loaf-style rosin that sliced clean and stunk louder way before you saw that kind of thing on dispensary menus,
Loaf-style rosin. Sounds interesting.
It was. Imagine the source describes a Skittles block. Skittles being the strain as thick, wet, unforgiving. This wasn't just regular hash. It was a whole new kind of rosin, solventless, super potent, but also uniquely stable that's sliced clean. And it became a gospel because word spread among the real connoisseurs. This was the new standard for top-shelf hash. It showed they weren't just refining, they were truly pioneering, all through dedication to the product.
Okay, so they're operating quietly, focusing on this intense craft, innovating with piattella. Yet they somehow ended up winning some major awards. How does a brand that actively seems to avoid promotion get that kind of recognition?
Well, it loops right back to their core philosophy, doesn't it? No promo, just terp weight.
Terp weight, basically meaning the quality you can smell and taste from the terpenes. Their success wasn't fueled by ad campaigns.
It was fueled by the hash itself.
Exactly. The quality was undeniable. It just spoke for itself. They snagged first place at Masters of Rosin in 2019. Then they made history, became the first brand ever to win it twice. And then, in 2023, they just swept Spannabis, which is huge in Europe, with their Rainbow Belt strain.
Wow.
Yeah, that level of consistent quality, that exceptional product, it just creates its own momentum, its own buzz. It proved they didn't need the usual hype machine. The hash was the hype. That's such a powerful contrast to how so many brands operate today, where the marketing budget seems bigger than the R&D. But the sources also mention it wasn't just them in isolation. They talk about a solventless familia. What was that about? How did they engage with others in the space? Was it all competition?
Actually, it sounds like quite the opposite of fierce competition. Their whole approach seemed very collaborative, almost like a community effort. They actively worked with some big names, Terps Army, Friends of Hash, the Grateful Seeds, Essential Extracts.
So building bridges, not walls.
Precisely. The sources emphasize it was no ego, just process. It paints a picture of La Sagrada's operation running almost like a co-op, built on shared values around glass, hash, and discipline. It seems they really fostered this environment of sharing knowledge, mutual respect.
That's pretty unusual in such a competitive market.
It really is. Especially in cannabis, which can be very guarded sometimes. This open, collaborative spirit stands out.
And it seems that openness extended beyond just collaborating with peers. They were also into education and transparency. What were they teaching? And how upfront were they about what was actually in their product?
Yeah, this touches on building trust, which is huge. They apparently taught gospel in Berlin, Barcelona, and Bangkok, which reflects that idea of no gatekeeping, no cut corners. They were sharing their knowledge.
Spreading the word, literally.
Right. And their core principle here was really strong. If it's not sacred, don't wash it, meaning only use the best material. They had this glass before gas policy, so no BHO, no mystery. BHO is butane hash oil, a common solvent extract. They stuck purely to solventless.
Just rosin.
Just rosin, yeah. And served in terp-safe jars. Jars designed specifically to preserve those volatile terpenes. And crucially, everything was labeled right strain, micron, wash date. All the key details. For them, as the source puts it, the real flex is traceability. Giving consumers total confidence in what they were getting, that builds serious trust.
Uncompromising craft, collaboration, radical transparency. It's quite the foundation.
So where do they go from here? What's on the horizon for La Sagrada Farm? What are the plans for, say, 2025 and looking ahead?
Well, their 2025 plans definitely show growth, but thoughtful growth. We're talking California collabs, which is a big market. Also live rosin carts, expanding their product type. Plus Thailand medical expansion and doing some short-run drops, probably limited edition stuff.
So branching out quite a bit.
They are, but what's key, according to the source, is that all this expansion is guided by the same ethos. And, importantly, no shortcuts. They seem determined to scale up without watering down the principles that got them here. Expanding their reach, sure, but not losing their souls, so to speak. So when we boil it all down, this deep dive into La Sagrada Farm, it really shows something powerful, doesn't it? Their success story isn't about flashy ads or being loud. It's fundamentally built on this deep, almost spiritual commitment to quality, to the process itself, and to community. It really highlights how sometimes quiet, disciplined work can make the biggest impact, even in a really noisy industry.
Absolutely. And it leaves you with a pretty interesting question to chew on, doesn't it? What can the rest of us learn from a brand that basically built its empire on just one principle, holy hash only? Prioritizing that integrity, that craft above everything else. How might their quiet, focused approach make us rethink our own ideas about what success and authenticity really mean, especially when everyone seems to be chasing the next trend? It definitely gives you something to think about regarding what truly lasts.